Um, First off, Paul, your story really resonates with me. A lot of people in the community know. I wasn't 19, but just recently I lost my dad, and he's my
Mm,
hero. And you're making me think of why he was and how he lived his life and connected with people. Very similar. Sounds a lot like your dad. And what I think about it, like everything on a daily basis this year, I'm like, would my dad, like one of the best compliments I could ever get is when people go, "You remind me of your dad,"
mm,
or I'm
yeah,
really, like your dad would be really proud of what you're doing. Like that's an amazing accomplishment. But I don't think I've asked myself that question enough, and you've
mm,
given me that like every day. It's something that really can inform decisions because I'm sure you make a lot of decisions that maybe you do differently or like
for
maybe
sure.
all the time still now. Like every decision isn't going to be the right thing, but it helps kind of frame how you think about things. So thank you for that. Um, I'm curious about like just a story about like a team where you, I know working with the 49ers or just a team where you got them and maybe their whys were just a little misaligned. And I'm curious about like the moment you thought that they actually got to the right why, because I feel like maybe I have to imagine people that you work with, you say, okay, why are you in this? Well, I don't know. I want to provide for my family. I want freedom. And then you ask them four or five whys beyond that. It's like, well, I want to prove people wrong, or
Mhm.
maybe it's way more personal than the initial thing that it presents. So I'm curious if you had a story of kind of a team or a situation that you worked with where you could tell that they really hadn't gotten there until they actually found out what it was and what was that real why that really changed things for them.
Yeah, it's great, Alex. I appreciate it. For one, condolences and my heart to yours. And yeah, man, just go make them proud every day. Connect them to especially your MVDs, and like, dude, you can't lose. So I'll start with that. As far as why, you bring up a good point, and here's the reality: intention is everything. And so I don't think talking about why and purpose is enough. I do think the majority of the world, it is a little bit of a distant North Star, and if you get too distant from it, then like how do I apply this on Monday morning? Because that's what counts. Frankly, a lot of the genesis, without going into too much of the backstory of Win Monday, it came from a place of, I've now I'm a speaker, but I've been an attendee and a guest of so many different events and even the best events in the world. And I leave inspired and on a rocket ship, like, oh, I could go take over the world and it's going to be amazing. And then Monday morning hits and my inbox, because I've been ignoring it for a couple of days. And then my family and my digital life happens. And then 1 or 2 weeks go by and I reflect back on that once inspiring event and poof, it's a sugar high. And we've all had these sugar highs. We leave an event like you're going to take over the world and then poof. And so my mission was no sugar highs allowed. And I want to inspire people with ways that they can win Monday. And so that was a bit of the backstory, but it applies to what you said, because if all we do is do a why exercise or a purpose exercise, it's just not enough. It has to be reinforced constantly. And so for me, when I found myself, like to use your words, in a misaligned situation, it was the intentionality and it was the process. Like, as an example, I would do a values journal with folks that are, so my definition, my formula for confidence is confidence equals values times action. The multiplication is how consistently you do it. So confidence equals values times action. Show me a person that takes consistent action on their values, I will show you a confident person. Period. Full stop. So how this applies to purpose, I say, well, when I started to act on my values, that's when I became my most confident self. That's when I felt most connected to my purpose and my dad and my hero, etc. So I would do something like a journal to make sure that at least once a week I check in, and I would choose one journal. And for 4 weeks, because habit formation takes 3 to 4 weeks. So you got to get past that threshold. So I would say, journal this, and I'll give you the line right now. And I've coached this to thousands, from SEALs to Olympians to you name it, like 10 out of 10 times. It works if you do it for 4 weeks. You journal. For the week ahead, I will live my value of blank by blank. For the week ahead, I will live my value of blank by blank. The first blank is a value that you choose. The second blank is an action that you connect to the value. So, two quick examples. Joy. I would journal something like, for the week ahead, I will live my value of joy by cooking my favorite meal, Cool. Small, simple, accessible. Any of us can do it. I'm throwing bacon in a pan. What are you doing? Whatever brings you joy. You do you. Okay, that's joy. Now let's raise the stakes a little bit. Let's say courage is a value. Okay. For the week ahead, I will live my value of courage by having that challenging conversation that you've been putting off. You're not having that conversation because Paul said, you're having that conversation because courage is a core value. And that's exactly how this journaling process works. It reinforces connecting action to your values. You do it for 4 straight weeks, once a week, 2 minutes a week, in less than 10 minutes a month. Lives can change, lives can transform, and purpose is on the other side, because I don't view purpose as a North Star. I view it as the intentionality to live with purpose and on purpose. And I cannot say with purpose on purpose unless I connect it to decisions and actions. So hopefully that helps. Regardless of misaligned situation, great situation, bad situation, that journaling process works 10 out of 10 times.